Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee, Tea, You and Me. I am so sorry that we got the episode started a little late. I had some problems with the broadcast channels that I work from, and I work from LinkedIn, I work from YouTube, and I work with Facebook in order to bring this broadcast on and make it possible for everyone to participate and for everyone to enjoy. And today I had a bit of a technical difficulty because I made the mistake of scheduling it wrong when I created the broadcast maybe 3 days ago, and I didn't catch that mistake until this morning at 10 a.m. when it was supposed to go. And I realized that I'm a little too much too late, right? So that's what happens. We make mistakes, but we carry on, we push on, we create what we need to create. You are so lucky today. I don't have any studio guests today. It was just me. And so I get a chance to field and answer all the questions that you have. If you have a business, if you have a product or a service that you want me to make sure I let people know about, definitely put that information in the chat. Put it in the chat, and I will try to do everything I can to post it, to share it, to talk about your product or service so that others may get a chance to do it. And therefore, you'll always have this recording that you can go back to and share it with others. If you are following me on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, then you'll get a chance to take the recording for yourself. Chop it up if you want to. Do whatever you need to do. If you want me to send it to you, I'll be more than happy to send it to you. So this is how we roll. This is about entrepreneurship. This is about business leaders making sure that they're doing the things that they need to do. Thank you, James. I see you, man. Absolutely, James. Why don't you tell us where you're following us from? How'd you find out about the show? Anything about your business or your interest? Go ahead and put that information in the chat. I want everybody to have as much engagement as possible. Yes, I am getting a little gray in the beard. That's funny. This is what Mr. Vandergrift had to say about what's going on. He said, "You're getting gray, bro." It's true. I am. So do me a favor. If you are watching this for the first time, or if you're seeing us, if you're just chiming in, let us know where you're calling in from or where you're watching it from. I don't care where it is. Post your city, your town, how you found out about us, anything about your business. It is so exciting just to have an audience and have people out there. It is funny, as my girl Sharon has caught up to us. Sharon was the one that kind of flagged for me that I was supposed to get the broadcast started this morning, and I didn't. But I realized that I wasn't supposed to get the broadcast started. I just had made a mistake in the scheduling. So I appreciate you, Sharon, for hanging in there with us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how people can get in contact with you, and definitely talk about your book, because that is super, super important. There are so many great, powerful entrepreneurs and people that follow the show. I really want them to know what you and your daughter have done and how wonderful your special work has been for so many children and can be for so many children. And I want to make sure we get everybody's access to that. Prandeep is following us today, and he's a Unicity distributor, and he's excited to extend the business network. That's great. It's so good to see you. Thank you all for coming on board. Here's what I'd like everybody to do. If you haven't already, subscribe, follow, share. Don't keep this program a secret. I built this program from scratch, and I remember when I started hanging out at coffee shops every Friday around the Northern Virginia area and just telling entrepreneurs and business leaders, hey, if you want some advice, if you want some techniques, if you want some skills about how to grow your business, all you got to do is follow me at Coffee, Tea, You and Me. Come on board, and we'll take care of you. If you look at the logo above me, to the right, you'll be able to see that's a program I've been doing now for so many years. And we're super passionate and super fantastically fabulous at what we do. I love the people that show up, with the people that come around. I don't get a chance to see you live face to face because of COVID, but also because of COVID, I get a chance to broadcast this all throughout the world. And we find guests sometimes come in from all over the place. I've had guests from Africa, guests from South America, guests from Canada, guests from China. It's been amazing. So I'm looking forward to serving as many people as we possibly can, to making sure that we take care of one another, and we do everything we can to support all the entrepreneurs, all the small businesses, the women-owned, the minority-owned, the disabled veterans, anybody who has a business and you feel like you have no voice, but you got to get it out there. Do me a favor, put your information in the chat. Let us know what you're doing. Let us know how to contact you. Put your contact information out there. Put everything out there. This is a business-friendly atmosphere. I want you to know, if you've got something good for us, then we should share it with everybody else. And that's what we're all about the business of doing. In fact, I've got a show coming up, and I'll broadcast that to you guys a little later on the show. I've got a brand new seminar that we put together. This is for the next conference coming up. I'm looking for speakers. I'm looking for sponsors, partners, friends who are willing to put something into the pot so that we have something amazing for entrepreneurs. It's been an incredible ride to put this stuff together for you guys, and I so enjoy it. You know, I love working and doing the things that we get the chance to do. And that's my information coming across the stream. So if you think you might want to be a sponsor for our workshop, let me see when it's coming up. Make sure I get this right. The next monthly workshop, or actually going to be a quarterly workshop. It's going to be a half-day workshop. It's coming up on the 26th. We start in the morning. We go all the way through the afternoon. We got games, prizes, all kinds of fun stuff. And it's really all about, you know, being better, getting more and developing more excellence at whatever it is that you do. I've had the privilege over the last few weeks to speak to quite a few amazing groups who are all going to be sponsors of some of the things that I'm working on right now. I had a chance a couple weeks ago to talk to Blacks in Government, which is a great opportunity, great people. I was amazed at the talent and the skills that are obviously prevalent within the organization. And I'm looking forward to working with as many people as I possibly can to create, you know, amazing atmosphere for as many, again, as I can. I've also had a chance to speak to another group called one of my favorites called 40 Plus. 40 Plus is an organization that is dedicated to those of us who are a little older, maybe a little gray in the hair, right? Who've been outsized, right-sized, downsized, outsized, all this kind of stuff. Everything that's happened to some of them joined the Great Resignation before it was the Great Resignation. I did a talk last Monday on the fact about the Great Resignation. And one of the things I shared with the people about that when we were talking about the Great Resignation is the simple fact that all of the environment that was created to create the Great Resignation happened before COVID-19. People were already stressed out. They were already overwhelmed. They were already being asked to do more than they should have been asked to do. They were already feeling put upon and not really respected in the organizations that they were working with in the first place. COVID-19 just was like, when you think about it, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. You know, it caused so many people as they were sitting at home, either out of a job or trying to work virtually for the last 2 years, they began to discover things about themselves and about their lives and about their choices that they no longer wanted to tolerate what they were tolerating before. And so the whole prospect now of going back to work or creating a hybrid workplace or figuring out how to rock out with the status quo was more than a lot of people wanted to deal with. And so they've decided, they voted with their feet. They've already learned how to get along with less money, less benefits, less whatever they had to get along with. And as they're taking care of their family and their friends and so on and so forth, and they just quit. On the average of 4 million people a month, 400 million people a month just decided, I'm done. I don't have to tolerate it. I don't have to do this anymore. There must be a better way. Now, as a result, a ton of small businesses have been launched, things that people have been incubating and thinking about for years and, you know, wondering if they could do it. And now they've gotten to a point where they've decided now is the time. This is why I love doing what I'm doing right now, because Coffee Tea, You and Me is a great opportunity for those of you all who are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and you're sitting at home in your basement or you're working from a room in the back office somewhere, you know, and you need to be able to know that you're doing the right thing. You need to be able to know that people are there to support you. Today's workshop, today's series is the third installment of a series that I put together that I'm currently doing the research for, and I have a huge training manual that I'll send out and make available to everybody. So if you want that training manual, do me a favor and put it in the chat. Some of you want benefits. That's the name of the training that we're creating. And we started working on generally what are benefits and how do we talk about them? How do we discuss them? How do we enjoy them? How do we embrace them, right? And we're looking at the benefits, and we're looking at 3 different aspects of benefits. So part 1 one, we got into the general overall view of what benefits are. Part two, we got into, how do you make sure that you're paying, make sure that you're contributing enough into the world, into society to create a benefit for others. Today, we're going to be talking about how do you start to extract, how do you start to receive the benefits of the work that you've contributed, the contributions that you've made that are there for you. And I say they are there for you because the law of reciprocity says that you deserve to get back something for the benefits that you are willing to share. So with the effort, the momentum, the energy that you're putting out, you deserve to have a benefit as a result of that energy. You deserve to have something back. Now, if you feel like the universe is taking from you, but isn't giving back to you what you need, the question you should ask yourself is, I think, twofold. First, are you looking a gift horse in the mouth? What do I mean by that? Are you really looking at the benefits that you're receiving? Are you really mindful and grateful for the things that are going on that you've accomplished and overcome and achieving? Are you really aware of what you have right now, which is the result of the work that you've already done, the contributions you've already made? Now, I know you might not be happy with what you have right now, but the question is, what did you do to earn what you have right now? What blessing has been bestowed upon you? How has the universe responded, God, or whatever spiritual component you have? I believe in God, right? That has given you everything that there is around you. Your family is with you. For those of you who have a family, for those of you who have relationships, those are with you. For those of you who have a house, a car, 3 hots and a cot, that's what you have today. And these are amazing benefits. Because you have these, you don't have to worry about how you're going to sleep. You don't have to worry about your next meal. You don't have to concern yourself that there's no love in your life because you already have these things. These are blessings that you do not have to have. Others do not. So when you think of what benefits you, I want you to think about what you have. And I also want you to think about what you can generate from the trajectory of your talent and your gifts. Everything that you can do, everything that you're capable of has a trajectory. And ask yourself the question, if you develop the capabilities that you have, what can then happen for your life? What can you be, do, or have if you do everything you can to develop your capabilities to the highest level possible for you? And I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that, and how we need to grow, and how we need to create more benefits, and how we need to accept and receive more benefits right after our quick little commercial break. I love these little commercials. My good friend David Huff did these for me, and I want to share this one with you today. I love these little commercials. And today I have to say, I got so many friends that are joining us on the call. I really appreciate every one of you all. You're listening from Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. My boy Donnell is out there. Oh my God, he says he got a coach on his side. I wonder what coach Donnell could be talking about that he has on his side. This is one of my favorite veteran entrepreneurs. In fact, I promised Donnell that I would wear red for him every Friday. I don't even know what I did with my red hat. It's around here somewhere, but I have forgot. Donnell, do me a favor. If you could post a link to that veterans organization that you wanted to share, I would be more than happy to share with everybody else. It is super important. Donnell is a great guy. I love what he's doing with the veterans community, the entrepreneurship community. He's such a strong advocate. He does a lot for the business community, as well as one of the founders of the Million Cups Fairfax. And that's a good organization. Donnell, post all that in the chat for me, because I want to make sure everybody has no excuse not to get involved, not to connect, and have the ability to share with you as we continue to move this party forward. So it's great to have you on the call. Great to be here with you. And I'm so glad that we're doing this. Okay, so I want to make sure I don't check out here because my internet seems to be a little bit wonky. I want to make sure we got a good connection, but it seems like we did. So we're going to keep the party going. Let's talk about benefits. Last week, we talked about how benefits work and how you can have access to them and how you could use them. We talked about making sure that you were paying what you need to pay, contributing what you need to contribute, doing all that you can to pay it forward, to give what you need to give to people that work with you, making sure that you understand what real benefits you have to offer, even if you can't make financial offers to benefit others. You can make emotional benefits. You can make spiritual benefits. You can make physical benefits and benefits that affect us in so many different ways. This is critically important because the more we can do to help each other generate happiness and satisfaction, the higher productivity we're going to get back from when it comes to working with others and being a part of things and doing everything we can. We have to figure out how we can do that. We have to take responsibility to do all that we can to create love and kindness and generosity and happiness in the world. When we do that, what we receive back, which is what we're going to talk about today, is the magnification of the contributions that we've made. My good friend Zig Ziglar says this: give it out in slices and it'll come back in loaves. Meaning if you sprinkle a little kindness, a little joy, a little happiness, a little satisfaction along the road to different people, when it comes back to you, it's going to come back to you not just as a sprinkle, not just as a slice, but it's going to come back to you in loaves. You're going to get so much more back than you've given out. So if you're thinking about building a legacy, and you should be, if you're thinking about creating and changing something massive in our world, and you should be, then I'm telling you what you have to be able to do is contribute what you need to contribute. Now, today we're going to talk about how do you receive? How do you adequately receive all the things that you need to receive and do it well? Because a lot of us don't know how to receive. We might be on the side of making sure we make contributions, but a lot of us are horrible at accepting the just rewards of our efforts. And we've got to be better at that. We've got to expect more from our universe, from the atmosphere, from people around us. We have to generate more, but we also have to respect and accept more. It's critically important that we do that. And then next week is a topic you're not going to want to mix, because next week we're wrapping it up with performance. 3 aspects of benefits: the benefits you pay, the profit that you receive, and the performance that everybody gets to create a mutual win. And that's what we're going to talk about next week. But let's get into profit. Why is profit a benefit? Now, we all know that there are several types of profit. The easy one to measure is financial reward. It's easy to know the bottom line. It's easy to know these are my costs, these are my revenues, this is what I get to keep, this is my profit from a financial point of view, from an economical point of view. Profit is extremely important, because without profit, then the activity that we use to generate the profit, whether you're working with a nonprofit organization or a for-profit organization, none of that matters. Because if there's no profit that we can measure, it becomes difficult for us to argue for the trust that we need to argue for when we have to have others invest in our process, when we have to have others invest in our character, when we have to have others invest in who we are, what we bring to the table. It is critically important that we don't shortcut the process or short out the opportunity to generate profit. Now, what you do with that profit can be a blessing to you, your family, and others if you understand truly the other sides of profit. Let's talk about that. We've talked about the fiscal profit, right? But there's all other kinds of profits that we need to think about how we generate. I want you to ask yourself the question: how are you generating wellness as a benefit for yourself? How are you sharing and receiving? How are you getting it back? How are you getting wellness out of what you do? Because if what you do is not helping you to be healthier, then what you do is toxic. And it's helping you to, it's hastening your demise, put it that way. It's creating a less possibility for you to grow and expand and contribute more. And it's creating an ability for you to retreat, for you to isolate, for you to find self-doubt and all that kind of stuff. So you have to ask yourself, what am I doing? How does what I do generate more energy, more focus, more passion, more elegance, more giving? How does it happen? Because that's what should be happening. You should be receiving back from your efforts what it takes to generate more when it comes to your happiness, your wellness, and so on and so forth. Does that make sense for everybody? Now, there's been a mistake, and this is the time I need to share it. If you haven't paid attention to the development of Sean Aker and many of the scientists who have been studying happiness since about 2000, 1999, somewhere around about there, people have been studying, positive psychologists, right, have been studying this happiness movement. In fact, Sean Aker is the king, so to speak, of the happiness factor, right? He discovered that productivity is generated from happy people. Happy people produce more. And it's not the other way around. It's first happiness, then productivity. It is not productivity, then happiness. We've all thought that, if we're more productive, then we'll be more happy. And that's nothing can be further from the truth, because there's no end to the demand for your productivity. Everybody wants you to be more productive. Everybody, your family members want you to be productive. If you're a mother, your children want you to be more productive. If you're a father, your children want you to be more productive. If you're a caretaker, your parents want you to be more productive. No matter what it is that you do, no matter who it is that you are, if you're working someplace, everybody wants more. Nobody wants less from you. Everybody wants more. But in order for you to generate more, you have to be happy. And so whose responsibility is it for you to be happy? Answer that question for me in the chat, for those of you who are paying attention. Whose responsibility is it for you to be happy? Is it you? Is it your responsibility? Or is it others' responsibility? Think about that for a second. And I want to know what you respond. Put your response in the chat. Engage with me for a second. Let's see how that goes for everybody. Because I think that we've often been told that our happiness is our sole responsibility. Now, when you're children, you don't think that at all, right? You think your happiness is somebody else's responsibility. It's their job to make sure you're happy, satisfied, placated, whatever it is there, right? So it's critically important to think about it, though. Is it your responsibility for your happiness? Is your happiness your responsibility, or is it somebody else's responsibility? I'm of the mindset that we're all responsible for all of our happiness. We're going to get into this a little bit later when I talk about performance next week. But think about it. If you're working with me, say I bought something from you. Say I bought a service for you, right? And I'm not happy with the service. Is my happiness my responsibility, or is it partially yours for not serving me in the way that I need to be served? You see, if I take responsibility for my happiness with a product or service that I purchased, then I also have to take responsibility for communicating to the service provider, listen, in order for this to really work for me, what I need to have happen is this, and this. And so the more I know about what makes me happy in the service model, the more I communicate that, the more I can say, if I'm let down or something like that, the more understanding the person will have when they go, you know what? I really bit off more than I can chew here. I really promised you that I could get it to you this way, but for some reason, I dropped the ball and I messed up. Okay, if that happens and I bought a service or a product from somebody and it just didn't work out and they own up to it like that, then I'm more likely to forgive them and I'll still be happy because I know that they're taking responsibility for their part. I'm taking responsibility for my part. My part is to communicate. Let's flip the script. If I am serving someone else, I'm also still partially responsible for their happiness. Because how will I know I served them well? It won't be when they pay me. That won't be what determines whether or not that I served them well. Because how many of us literally have bought products or services and we've even left a tip, at a restaurant or someplace because we felt obligated to do so, not because the service was so amazing or so excellent or we were so happy with it, right? Somehow along the way, the person who was responsible for serving us probably dropped the ball, didn't pay attention, didn't give us what we need to get. And so therefore we weren't happy. Is it their fault? Is it our fault for not communicating? Right? This is the point I'm trying to make. I hope you understand. We collectively are responsible for all of our happiness. This is my point. But when you talk about receiving the benefits that you need to receive, you first have to know what you need, right? It doesn't matter whether you're buying a product or service, whether you're expecting a return on your investment for your efforts, whether you are selling a product or service. It is your responsibility to communicate what makes the thing work for you, what will generate satisfaction for you, what will create happiness, and how will you enjoy this process. That's your responsibility to know and then communicate to others so that others have a better opportunity to pay attention and to actually fulfill and help you with the things that you need to have. I hope you get that. If you really want to benefit, if you want to benefit from what you need to do, you have to be able to speak to what that benefit is. You have to know what the benefits are that you seek. And you have to be able to articulate the real benefit to you. I tell my customers all the time, if you buy from me, my job is to serve you so well that you have no problem sharing me with your friends, your family, to people that you respect. I'm going to need you to do that. That's actually what I'm working for. I am not working for the little payment that I get. Now, trust me, I need the payment. That's important, right? Because I got to keep my lights on. I got to keep my family fed. I have to keep gas in my car, right? These are things that are important to me in order for me to continue being able to do what I do, right? But think about it. If I'm not turning my clients into stark raving fanatics, I have to continue to spend more and more money marketing, more and more trying to figure out how to get the right website, trying to figure out how to say the right things and how to make sure the brand is just so. I got to put more effort and more energy in marketing and advertising, which has nothing to do with who I am and what I want to offer the universe. I don't want to offer more disruption to people. Not interested. But I do want to offer high quality products and services that allow them to increase their focus, their productivity, and their energy. I do want to do that. So I'm going to be dependent on serving my clients and serving them well and making sure that they are absolutely comfortable in referring me, in endorsing me, in giving me testimonials, in providing third-party evidence to the qualities that I bring to the table, in speaking about my character in ways that I could never say about it for myself. I need people. Those are the benefits I'm looking for. And so it's a part of my contract. When you decide you want to work with me, then you're also opening yourself up to sharing me with other people that I need to meet. If that's a no-brainer, if that's something that you can't do, then we're not going to work together. And there's no money that's going to allow me to change that. There's no money that's going to make me change that thought process and that philosophy. Also, another part of my contract is you have to give me feedback. You can't just sit there and wait for me to serve you and then go check plus minus. Give me a chance to engage. Give me the feedback that I need to have if it's not working to make it better. But if you're not going to give me the feedback, if you're not going to tell me how it's working for you, if you're not going to share with me when it's broken or when it's going well, then again, I don't want to play, because this makes it difficult for me to know that I'm receiving the benefits that I deserve to receive as a result of my efforts. I think my efforts are going to be, I'm committed to giving the effort to generate those two things: glowing endorsements, testimonials, in referrals, but also feedback. And if I'm not doing enough to deserve to warrant that, whose fault? That's my fault, right? That I can say, I can take it on myself and go, I created this monster. I made my bed. I'm willing to live in it, right? So it's very, very important that communication process. If you really want to get the benefits that you deserve, you have to be willing to articulate what you really, really need. If you can't articulate what you really, really need, and I don't care if it's a process, an entrepreneurial process, or you're working for someone else, because I think that it's all entrepreneurial. It's, by the way, and I want to share this with you. If you're working for somebody else, right? You're taking orders from somebody else, right? There's no way, it's impossible for them to give you what you're worth economically. That's not going to work. The universe doesn't work that way. Economics doesn't work that way. It's if the person that you're working for gives back so much to you in terms of a financial reward that they're no longer making profits, then they're out of business and they got to stop. It's bad for you, it's bad for them, it's bad for everybody. So they can't really, no one can afford to pay you what you're worth. It's impossible. It's an impossible thing economically, right? So understand, we're all overworked and underpaid. That's how the universe works. But it doesn't mean that we can't receive other payments that make the work worthwhile. If you have a boss that is never positive, isn't supportive, doesn't help you generate or get the resources that you need to grow, doesn't help develop your talents and skills in a way that you're going to feel more confident and more capable, then that's a reason to leave. That's a reason to jump ship. And that's what's happening in the Great Resignation. People are feeling like their direct reports, their direct organizations are just not fulfilling anymore. They're not giving them, if they ever were, they probably never were, because everybody thought, I'll just do my job and move on. And the reality is, the job that takes up 40 to 60 hours of your week is taking up your life. And the life sacrifice that's required to work a job people are no longer willing to do. And so if you're creating jobs for other people or opportunities for other people, no matter what those are, you have to think about not just the physical, tangible benefits. You have to think about the non-tangible benefits. You have to think about the social benefits that you can offer. You have to think about the spiritual benefits that you can offer. You have to think about the relationship benefits or the heartfelt benefits that you can share. You have to think about how you can appreciate people, how you can respect them, how you can promote them, how you can do things to uplift them. If you're not thinking about those things, then no longer you're going to be an ineffective manager, supervisor, and you certainly will be a horrible leader to work with, because there's no benefit to working with you. A paycheck is not a benefit. In fact, a benefit plan is not a benefit. You buying into a health insurance plan that offered by the job only means that the premiums are a little bit lower than if you bought them on your own. And that's not always true either. So when you think about what benefits truly are, and the benefits that you need to give and share and the benefits that you need to receive, I need you to start thinking a little bit deeper about what you really, really need to be happy. What do you need to be physically happy? What do you need to be emotionally happy? What do you need to be mentally happy? What do you need to be happy in your social engagements and your relationships? Because the physical idea, that fifth one, that's the only thing we've been focusing on, especially in the Western world. And that's not good enough. That's not working. That's not working. When you think about it, European nations mostly are going to a 4-day work week, right? Some of them have siestas in the middle of the day. They check in for work in the morning and they check out in the afternoon. They go play for a couple of hours and they come back. Not a lunch break, a siesta break, long enough to take a nap, have lunch, take a nap, and hang out with your family, and then come back again. Think about that. You have to focus on all those things that are critically important, those other benefits, those intangible benefits, and you got to be good at sharing them. One of the reasons why at my organization, the Roundtable, we created a program called the RAP Report. The RAP Report was based on a study that I created about respect, affection, and praise. How are we generating more of that in the universe? How are we generating more respect? How are we generating more affection for people? And how are we generating more praise and encouragement for others? Right? The more we do that, the better off we will be in terms of recruiting, the better off we will be in terms of retention, the better off we'll be in terms of having other people enjoy the process of working with us and being around us. But the more we offer disrespect, the more we offer any level of ignorance and intolerance, then those are the things that are going to cost us more and more and more revenue, trying to replace people as they jump ship, because they don't have to hold on anymore. They don't have to work with us anymore. I'm going to share with you a couple quotes from the studies that I was able to generate, and this one is just literally one of my favorite from Kurt Vonnegut. Vonnegut says, "I am a humanist, which means, in part, I have tried to behave decently without expectation of reward or punishment after I am dead." Basically, Vonnegut says you should live your life in the here and now, full out all you can, with enough positivity, enough energy, enough passion to create joy, to create gifting in others, to help others develop themselves and be okay with being okay, emotionally and spiritually. Is a very important thing. Vonnegut would agree. You reap what you sow today. There's a sense of urgency that we need to have, and I think Vonnegut would agree, in terms of paying it forward, in terms of honoring each other and honoring our commitments and doing the things that we know are right to do. In fact, one of the 4 benefits that you can generate come out of what we call the 4 qualities of foundational wealth. And there's 4 qualities that you need to embrace if you want to have sustainable long-term wealth. And these 4 qualities exist in all 5 areas that I talked to you about earlier, right? First quality, respectability. If you're generating profits from a respectable source, that's good. You're generating profits because you've done good activity, and that's led to the right kinds of profit. Now, you could generate profit from negative energy, negative activity. You can generate profit that is not sustainable. All right. You could just, with more exploitation, right, you can have more profit. That's true. But if you think about it, all profit is not good profit. Because if your profit comes from ill-gotten gains in any way, shape, or form, when it comes to doing the right thing, being the right kind of person, then that profit is not something that you can sustain over time, because you're putting too much stress in the universe. You're putting too much stress on other people. You're putting too much stress on whatever systems that you're using, trying to fully exploit them to the end of their ability. And guess what? That's going to break at some point. There's a tenet that comes along with this form of capitalism when we think about it, and that one of the tenets of capitalism is this: capitalism exploits every resource to scarcity in the pursuit of profit. Now, what's a resource for capitalists? Everything, including people. And when you pursue resources to scarcity, means you're going to use that resource until you are done with it, until you're out of it. Oxygen, water, mineral deposits, people. If we exploit them to scarcity, then we don't have them anymore. They're gone. Boom. We might have profit, but we're out of people. We might have profit, but we're out of ozone layer. And so now we're dead, right? We're out of people dead. It doesn't matter if we don't have a respectable level of profit. So think about that. Where are you getting your profit from? Where and how are you profiting? What profits are you receiving? And how are you receiving those profits? That's something you should consider. The other quality of foundational quality wealth is excellence. Are you receiving profit from excellence? Because if you're just dialing it in, right? If you're just mediocre in terms of your effort, if you're just, like I said, there are people who I've given tips to people who have served me in restaurants, and they did a horrible job. They didn't follow up with me. They didn't refill my water, my coffee, or anything like that. And in fact, I had to wait for them to finally deliver the check, and I owe people for this lack of service. Nobody asked me, checked up on me, see how the meal was going, whether it was hot, whether it was cold, whether it was, cooked the way I wanted to cook. Nobody even inquired. They just dropped some food off with me and bounced. And came back, enough to say, do you need to check now? Didn't ask me for a dessert, didn't see the dessert menu, didn't ask me anything that would help me experience this better. Was the music too loud? Do you need me to turn it up? Any of that stuff, right? So this is important. Was it excellence provided for me? Are you generating excellence when you do the things that you do? Are you doing it from a heart of a spiritual heart, or a righteous heart that says, this is a mission of mine, this is a passion of mine, this is something that I think I was designed to do? If that's what you're doing, you're probably going to put your best foot forward. You're probably going to do it with a level of excellence, whatever it is that you're doing. And then your profits that you receive can be sustainable. They can be profits that you can continue to receive, profits that you've earned for a fact without question. The feedback that you get back, another form of profit. The attention that people give you, another form of profit. The respect and the responsibilities that come from being excellent, another form of profitability, right? These are things that you can generate tons of profits just by being excellent at who you are and what you do. The next level of foundational wealth when it comes to profit is generosity. Are you open to giving from whatever you have in terms of excess for others to benefit those who can't or don't have it for themselves? Do you have a generous heart, a generous nature, that you're willing to help those who need help? Not just those who you want to help, but those who need it, whether they would appreciate it or not. Has nothing to do with the profits that you receive back from generously participating in the gifting and the wellness of others. I promise you, you will never come up short when it comes to this if you are focused on making sure that you're giving what you can give, not what you necessarily are going to create deficits for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't give what you have to feed your family. Don't give what you need to keep a roof over your head. Don't give to the point where you now need, right? Give from your excess. Give from the blessings that you've been given and those that have come back to you, and you'll get more. Happens all the time. I could tell you story after story. I've committed something that others would charge a tremendous amount of money for with people, only to get that back to me in quadruple the amounts that I would have charged for it. It's just how the law of reciprocity works. It works from generosity breeds abundance. And there's so many rules we can talk about, but we don't have time to get onto all that. The fourth quality of foundational wealth is prudence, right? It's your responsibility to take the gifts and the talents that you have and make sure you're not wasting them with efforts and people who don't deserve them, who can't appreciate them, who can't return to you some level of profitability that you need to have for yourself and your family. If you're doing that, that's not prudent, right? Prudence is not just finding the cheapest way to get something that you want. It's being responsible with what you have, so that how you use what you have can give you the returns that you need to have in order for you to share what you have with others who need what you have. So this is how, as you're developing your talents and skills, right, as you're investing in your education and in your experiences, right, as you're doing that, you're being prudent by developing your gifts, by developing your talents. And now when you share your talents and gifts, right, you also have to be prudent with how you choose and discerning how you choose to share the things that you need to share, right? You have to keep everything you do respectable. I'm going to repeat these 4 qualities again. You have to keep it respectable, right? Keep everything pushed towards excellence so that you can receive in abundance, right? Make sure that you're generous so that you can overcome and help others overcome, the problems and issues that they're facing. It might be self-esteem, self-concept issues. It might be all kinds of things that your generosity helps them create a breakthrough around, right? And also understand that prudence wins when it's all said and done. All 4 of these foundational aspects of what I call sustainable wealth is very, very important, right? Respectability, excellence, generosity, and prudence. You got to do it. You got to do it so well that others look at you and go, oh my God, this is amazing. Okay, that's the talk for today. I want to make sure I go through. If anybody has any questions about anything I shared, anything you want to share, that's funny. My girl Nancy said I should be a preacher. Yeah, I'm working on it, Nancy. I'm working on it. But it's very, very, very important that we follow these principles of understanding how benefits work, because benefits are really meant to be mutual. They're not meant to be just for me or just for everyone else. They're meant to be for me and for everyone else. And they happen through the language of performance. And next week, that's what we're going to be getting into. We're going to be getting into raising your level of performance and raising the level of performance in everyone around you so that the benefits that everybody receives are much greater. But it's very important that you understand the science behind this. This is not just as simple as the mirroring effect we learned about in neuroscience, right? If I'm happy, then you're going to be happy. That's true. But it's so much more than that. My happiness and your happiness together generates a magnificent amount of happiness, so much so that we have abundance and more to share and more to give and more to contribute. And so it's so super special. It's so many opportunities. Again, anybody have any questions? Anybody have any thoughts to share? Anybody have anything you want to bring to the table? Definitely put that information in the chat. I'm going to post the information while we're here about the conference coming up in late March. If I can figure out how to get to it, that's not it. That's something close to it though. That'll get me there, at least in the right area. But I'll post that. And while you guys are thinking of some good questions to ask, I'm going to give you an opportunity, like I would naturally. Right, those of you who've been to Coffee Tea, you and me, I always tell you got to ask me a question, or you can't leave the table. So I'll let you guys generate a question. Everybody generate a question if you can, and that'll give me a reason to give you another shout out, right? And it'll also give me a reason to answer your question. But I'm going to be looking for the program I have coming up on the 19th. Where is that thing? There's my events. Gotcha. I'm close. I'm getting there. The internet could catch up to me. It would be amazing. There it is. Fine. I don't want to do it that way. I want to copy the URL to the event. That's what I want to do. And then I want to post it back here in the chat. There we go. Boom. That's it. That's the Eventbrite site. And that's the tool. For those of you who know some of my sponsors, you might want to contact them if you want a free ticket. That's a good way to get a free ticket. Also, if you need a scholarship, right, you need an advance from the coach. If you ask me nicely, I might hook you up with a free ticket. But other than that, the proceeds for this particular event will be going to one of our charitable organizations. And I really want to make sure that we do as much as we can. So please share it, tell other people about it, come if you can. It's going to be a fun day. We're really going to get into things that's going to be great. Sharon says, let me see if I can get this question. Do you think these benefits will be helpful for children to learn maybe on a different level? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we do our children a disservice when we tell them to be humble but don't ask for themselves, but focus just on helping others. We don't help them understand that they deserve to get what they need to be happy. And sometimes we haven't figured out how to give our children that language and how to articulate that, so they don't feel like they're living lives where they're being taken advantage of by anyone. And I know I had figured this out, and I don't know how I figured it out when my daughter asked me a question. She was responding to something I was saying, and she said to me, "Daddy," I said, "What, sweetie?" She says, "Closed mouths don't get fed." And I thought, where did she get this from? And then I realized, she told me. I asked her, I was like, "Where'd you get this from?" She said, "Well, you taught me all the time to make sure I ask for what I need." And she does to this day. And so I don't have to worry about her feeling like she's going to be taken for granted or taken advantage of, because I know she's not going to tolerate any level of existence in her life where she's not getting what she needs. And she's willing to make the contribution, make the sacrifices, make whatever she has to make to get what she needs. But we all have to do it. We all have to know what we need, what makes us happy, what makes us satisfied, what drives our hearts and minds. And if we're not in touch with that, we're not mindful, if we're not grateful, we don't practice gratitude. One of the ways, by the way, I'm glad you mentioned this, Sharon, because it's a great way to do this. If you want to figure out what really floats your boat, what really makes you happy, every day, write down 3 things that you're grateful for that happen for you every day. Do this for about 30 days. And at the end of 30 days, go back and read your journal. Go back and read the information that you shared or wrote down for yourself. What you're going to find is you're going to see patterns of things that work for you. And as those patterns become established for you, you can begin to articulate to others, what I really enjoy? I really like these things when these happen. I really like this, that, and the other. You have a whole recipe for your own happiness that you can now articulate to others. And others will go, "Oh, wow. Those things make me happy too. We could do those things together. Or we can figure out ways to support each other in the pursuit of this happiness." In fact, there's a book called Pursuit of Happiness. I would suggest that you take a look at it. And you definitely should take a look at Sean Anker's book, The Happiness Factor, because you'll start to understand how to receive all the benefits that life has to offer. And there's so many. They come from so many different places. There's never a reason to be sad. There's never a reason to be depressed. And I understand that COVID-19 is out there, and and the world is changing and all that kind of good stuff. But it is critically important that you find the joy. And if you find the joy and you get used to seeking the joy, then that becomes a part of your life. And then you will spread the joy. Because people will notice, you're just a happy person. Why are you so happy in the middle of all the things that are happening horribly? And we have so many examples. If you know the story of Viktor Frankl, and if you don't know it, look it up. Here's a person who made himself happy in the midst of occupying, of Nazi Germany occupation, and wrote about it later on, how he was able to keep himself positive and upbeat before he went into the prison camps, while he was in the prison camps, and then afterwards. There's people who have generated happiness and have been prisoners of war during the Vietnam situation. We have people have had the part of the 10, right, that John Glenn was in. They learned a language that was just their own from tapping on the walls, and they began to write poetry and share poetry with each other from tapping on the walls and creating designs. And one of the admirals that came back, who lives here in Clinton, Virginia, created a house in his head while he was a prisoner of war in Vietnam. He designed it. And then when he got back to the States, he built that house. And it's right now, people can go by and visit it. over here in Clinton, Virginia. So the point is, happiness is something that we can generate ourselves, but it takes practice. It takes discipline and focus. It takes understanding how to be grateful. It takes mindfulness of what's really working for you, paying attention to yourself, and then you'll learn how to generate it. You'll learn how to generate joy. I do it all the time, and I never was conscious of the fact that I was doing it, but pursuing this and things like this every day are the things that make me happy. And so I write tons of content. I write tons of training manuals and success manuals for others, because I do it because I love doing it. I love finding the best quotes out there, and I love finding the neuroscience behind behavioral development, and I love creating those opportunities, but it's super fun for me. So yeah, very, very important stuff. Very, very good stuff. I'm glad you all were able to come. I'm glad you all were able to, those of you who were able to stay, I'm glad you were able to stay. Hope you'll come to the conference in March. I hope you share this with as many friends as possible. Please don't keep me a secret, because I enjoy this too much, and I can't do it if I don't have people who are paying attention, right? So it's very, very important. I love you all. I had a great time. It's a little bit after 4. I've been at this for almost an hour, so I try to cut this underneath an hour every week, at least when I do this. Come back next Friday and check out the live show. If you're seeing this, maybe you can catch a recording. Maybe you're catching a recording of it. Go back and look at the previous episodes, because it walks you through the first parts of what benefits are and how they work. And then this is episode number 3. Next week we're gonna do number 4, and then week after that we're gonna do a wrap up of what we learned and how we experience it. And by that time I'll have the whole full training manual available for anybody who's paying attention, and I'll let you download it. It'll be absolutely free. All right. Love you guys. Had a great time. Thanks so much for coming. And by the way, if you're going to give me some feedback, go ahead and do it. Call me, write me, send a post in the chat about how you experienced whatever you experienced today. I had a great time. I hope you did too. And we'll see you next week.